It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.
Welcome to the Lighthouse, Voice of Spirit with Star Blossom Goddess, heard on Rockland World Radio every Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to check out the archives from the program page located off the menu bar. Now the host of the Lighthouse, Voice of Spirit, Star Blossom Goddess.
It's great to be here. I hope you all had a great Easter, great Passover, whatever you celebrate. I hope it was great because truthfully, every day is a celebration. And if you could take that concept and put it into your everyday life, you will feel amazing. You will feel the power of a celebrating day. So I hope you all had a great, great day. And we're going to have a great show today because one of my favorite people who I have interviewed before is here with us today. Her name is Lisa Howard, and she's great. Yeah. And she's a speaker, an interfaith minister, and she has a website called thisorbetter.com. She really is an amazing woman, and I'm so grateful to have you here today.
Thank you.
But right now we are going to get to the lighting of the candle, and we're going to celebrate this great day. We have wonderful people in our audience, which I want to welcome. And we're going to spend this hour celebrating and talking about who we are and realizing, taking a moment to step back and to realize how great we are, who we are, what we love, what our passions are. And Lisa is going to interview me so you can find out a little bit about me. But it's also a chance for you to say, wait a second, I can be in this spot as Star because I am great and I am special and I have gifts. Everybody has gifts. So this is a show that allows you to find out about me and find out about my wonderful guest, but also to realize how wonderful you all are. So let's take a minute, take a breath. Feel this precious moment, and I will open up the energies with a sacred candle. As I take a breath and light this candle, I choose to be in the present moment. I choose to embrace who I am and where I am, and together connected to the energies that are so present. These energies are love. These energies are the vibrations of the universe that is all around us. And as I watch this candle glowing with all its beautiful energy, I give thanks. Thanks for this moment where I can breathe and feel my truth. I will embrace who I am. I will taste from the grand buffet of my gifts and my friendships and my life, and I will share it with the world. I let this go as truth. Again, celebrating this precious moment And so it is. Amen. And it is done.
So it is.
So it is. Just breathe it in. Breathe your divinity in. Only you can do it. When you do it, it opens a doorway for Spirit to allow you to have everything you desire. This or better is what you deserve, and this or better is what you will have. So welcome, everybody. And before we start speaking, I'm going to play the song of the day because it's a special song, and I picked it today because it's called Second Chance by Mitten. And the reason I liked it, you know the reason I liked it?
Tell me why you liked it, Star.
Because every moment is another chance to do and to be in who you are.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? It's like every second, if you don't do it right this moment, do it the next moment, do it the next moment. I don't even like to say you didn't do it right, because that's a negative in itself. If you don't do it the way you're pleased with doing it, do it the next minute and the next minute and the next minute, because we all have second chances continuously. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So the song of the day is Second Chance, and here it is.
Video offers a rich and engaging way to connect with your audience and grow your business. And now, with Google AdWords for video, advertising with video has never been easier, faster, more accountable, or more
Intern practitioner.
I hung my hat on a wishing tree. I asked for one wish. I could have had three, but I only asked for what I needed. I could have asked for money, riches and wealth, but all I really wanted was to find myself, unaccustomed as I was to seeking. And my heart whispered inside, and the moon rose and the angels sighed. They said, here comes your second chance. You'd better believe it. Open up and receive it. Here comes your second chance. Take a deep breath. This is your second chance. Make peace with your mother, your father too. Make peace with the stranger inside of you, and forgive yourself for the things you tried and failed to do. Embrace your anger, your lust and your greed. That's how we drop the things that we don't need. Pick up a musical instrument or plant a seed. That was my heart whispering inside. Welcome, he said, you're home and dry. And here comes your second chance. You'd better believe it. Open up and receive it. Here comes your second chance. take a deep breath. This is your second chance. Well, the years went by and my wish came true, and I find myself here with you. I had to climb a mountain. There's no way around it. And we all come and go like waves in the sea, each with our own responsibility. Try to leave this world more beautiful than we found it. And that's your heart whispering inside, and you know your heart, it never lied. And here comes your second chance. You'd better believe it. Open up and receive it. Here comes your second chance. Take a deep breath. This is your second chance. This is your second chance.
Hi, welcome back. Again, we're with Lisa Howard, which is an amazing person. She touches hearts, and I'm very happy to have her here. So, what's cooking, Lisa?
I'm very happy to be here. This is only my second time, so it's fun. I was looking forward to it.
Great.
I'm really looking forward to asking you some of these questions. So I loved that you turned the interview around,
Okay.
because there's so much I don't know about you, and I'm sure that there are some of your viewers would like to know more. One of the biggest questions I was thinking about on the way here was exactly when, I would imagine, to have the gifts that you have and to be aware of them is something that you'd never forget the day you recognized those gifts.
That's the truth.
And can you tell me a little bit about that experience? When did you realize that you were, I mean, we're all gifted, as you said to your audience as the show began.
Right.
When did you become aware of your gift, Star?
Well, I'm not like a lot of people I have met who have been aware of their gifts since they were children. I only became aware of my gifts, I would say, about 10 years ago. I met my soulmate, who I fell madly in love with, and he was a shaman. He could read minds. I mean, he would literally scare people. That's how good he was at reading minds. And we connected, and he touched me, and he said, you know, you need a healing. And so I started to get a healing from him. Unfortunately, he left very soon after I met him, so we weren't able to have a relationship. But what he did is he opened the door for me to completely release. Like when he left this plane, I totally released. I cleansed, you know, and when you release the fears, the self-judgments, the insecurities, everything that you carry as a backpack, you start to open up the gateways for spirit to come through. And that's what started to happen about 10 years ago. Step by step, I started to get gifts, and I just loved them. I loved being able to tap in to receive messages from spirit, I started writing. And if you know anything about me, I'm terrible in English. My mother was great in my homework. She got great grades, but me, forget it, you know. But the thing was, I started to write, and that was Spirit's way of opening the channels. I started, it just came out of me. I could look at like a pen, and I could write a story about a pen. Or I could look at, you know, an outfit that you're wearing. If I see a tiger or something, out will come a story about a tiger. Full-length stories, poetry, novels. I wrote a 50,000-word novel within 6 months. So, you know, my gifts, it's a long-winded answer, but
Right.
but that's what happened. It just evolved. The more I cleanse, the more I get quiet and meditate, the more, you know, it comes out.
Great. I have a list of questions I want to
Oh,
ask you.
awesome. I'll try not to be
That's okay, and I'll stop you when you're long-winded.
Okay, smack.
So I think a big question that a lot of people may have, the question as it's written is, how does one receive spiritual gifts? Now, we know that everyone is gifted, and we are all spiritual beings. Whether people realize that or not doesn't make them not spiritual. They're just not aware of their spirituality. And so I know that we're born with gifts. How, for you, it happened 10 years ago, and it was through your writing. How would you recommend for others who feel they do, but maybe are challenged with some of the fears and old patterns of beliefs, how would you encourage someone to become aware? How does one become aware of their gifts?
That's a question that's asked of me all the time. You know, I'll do a reading or I'll go to a party and people ask me, you know, how do you do it? I want to do it. You know, they get like almost jealous. And I say to them, listen, we all have it, but you got to let go of the old beliefs, and then they start to come. You have to ask for what, suppose you see that I channel a spirit guide, and you want to do that. You have to ask, you have to trust, and you have to let go.
Right.
And it flows faster than you would think if you let go. A lot of people carry those fears. It's a matter of using tools to help you to tap into healing, and that's what my book's about.
Right, and wouldn't you say though, Star, that for a lot of people the concept is, I want to get that, or I want to have that, and so they think that they have to that you acquire these gifts and these talents, when really they are latent within each and every one of us. And the ideas that one is inspired by, it's not them thinking the ideas and the creative urges, the creative genius within us all is something that lives and breathes as us. So I think it's important for them to understand that when ideas come, it's not necessarily that they're thought of on their own. Ideas are divinely inspired.
Right.
Would you say?
For sure.
So
for
I think
sure.
once that they can tap into that and really get comfortable with the idea that these ideas are God-given gifts.
And they're in us. It's almost like, I've been an artist all my life. I went to art school, but I never really used it. And it was in me. And it was only until I started to love myself and say, wait a second, open the door. What is in there? You know, it's almost like you open your heart and it's not out there, it's in here. So if you take the time to look in your heart and see who you are, it begins to flow. It's already there. Sometimes if you say if you know it's already there, you don't feel it's as far away.
Right.
And not feeling it's far away will help a person to just let it flow.
Right, and I think meditation for a lot of people, meditation is a good way of not only quieting the mind, but quieting the mind so that you can hear that inner voice and all of its desires expressing through you. I think that's a good way to start.
It definitely
Right?
is a good way to start.
And I also understand, as you mentioned earlier, I haven't read any of your poetry, but I've heard wonderful praise about your very talented gift, and so how is that true that you have written a book?
I have written a book. I've written
And the book's title is
Living Life Ecstatically.
Living Life, and this is a book full of poems.
No, this particular book, there's a different book of poems. This particular book is about the tools that, like we spoke about, will help you to open up and to have an ecstatic life and to do the things you want to do and have your gifts come. It's the same idea. We talked about meditation already. Thank you. You know, that's one of the tools. I mean, there are...
Give me another tool.
Another tool is affirmations.
Give me an example.
Today, I will love myself totally and fully every moment of every day. You know, when you repeat that every day, when you take an affirmation shower and just repeat those words, they reprogram your mind so that you can function on a higher vibration of harmony.
Okay.
It's a really great thing.
Good. But the poetry is truly a gift and a passion.
It is a passion, yes, and
How long have you been writing poetry?
about 9 years.
Have you published any of the poetry stories?
Not only on the internet, you know, Facebook, things like that. But I love it because I just look at a word or hear a phrase on the radio and out it comes. And, you know, my goal is to just keep writing so that, you know, I could share more with people. I have, let's see, I have a poem. Would you like to hear it?
I would hope so.
Okay. I call this drinking from the well of experience. And I just heard the word well, a well, and I had an instant vision of what that would be like, and so this is what came. Drinking from the well of experience, I take a breath to heal, to help change the world. Drinking from the well of experiences, I feel, I see, to live peacefully in oneness. Drinking from the well of experience, I live. I choose to accept my true divine self. Drinking from the well of experience, I drink and quench my thirst to swim in the fountain of my dreams.
Beautiful.
So that's
Beautiful.
what I wrote.
And when you drink from that well, and not from the old patterns of belief or the judgment that's so often we get in society, when you drink from that well, is where the inspiration comes from. As long as we're paying attention to the material conditions and the judgment and the outside voices, we can't drink from the well. You can't do both at the same time. You're either drinking from the well or you're influenced by outside circumstances and judgments, right?
That's why I highly recommend to my readers, to the people that read my work, to the people that, you know, listen to my radio show, if they follow their passion, if they follow what inspires them and lives that way, they can start to really see the whole world change. You know what I'm saying?
Right? Do what you love.
Do what you love, and the finances, everything else will follow, because the energy, the vibration of what you love is going to be matched by the universe. And that's what we all want. We want what, you know, we desire to have, that freedom, that love, that passion, you know.
Right, absolutely. So, all right, so you've given us some tools and examples of tools, meditation, affirmations. Now, how about this one? Have you run into many people? This is speaking specifically about your channeling and your reading. Have you met, when you are reading someone, how often are you met with this, the skeptic?
I have to say not a lot, because when they come, they're anxious to get information, and they're positive about it, so a good amount of time I don't get it. But I have found that if they're negative, that's going to impact the reading. They're going to bring to them what they think they want, you know, which is to not believe. So they're going to get negative. They're going to get something in the reading that is going to match that.
And how do you handle that? Let's say you were reading me and I was ooh, I don't believe all this hocus pocus. How would you deal with that?
It's a challenge. What I try to do is I try to relax them. I try to light a little sage, encourage them to take a breath so they will relax, and I try to just make it comfortable for them so their fear monster will not take over them, It works some of the time. I have to just trust that if they're a skeptic and they're in front of me and they're getting a reading, that maybe they won't get as much as I would like them to get, but it'll plant the seeds for later growth within their consciousness.
Right.
So, they're in front of me for a reason.
Right, a seed has already been planted. They came to you for a reading, so
That's
they're
true.
just challenged by their own critical thinking
Right.
and their lack of belief. And that takes time for people. They need to experience a reading or any of the qualities that come from a good spiritual practice, meditation daily. I think showing up is a good sign. The fact that they show up implies that they are open and they know that there's something larger than life out there. Now, what I want to ask you is, what would you say makes you different from other readers? Because there are good readers.
Mm-hmm.
I have had readings before, and some I was deeply impressed with, and others not at all.
Right.
So I do believe that many people are very gifted readers. And it's very hard for someone who does not have experience with readers to know when they're not with someone that's exactly reputable.
Right. I'm so happy you asked me that question, and I'll tell you why. Because everybody has their gifts, and everybody reads differently, okay? Some people, like if you get a reading by Sylvia Brown, it's going to be packed with certain specific stuff. Do you know Sylvia Brown? Okay. So it's going to be packed up with certain stuff from her guides and from her sources that will specifically give them certain information. If they come to me, they're going to get a different type of, my gifts are different than Sylvia Brown, of course. She's been, doing it for a long, long time, and she has different sources. I have different sources. My sources are more in the present moment. What do you have to do to live life ecstatically? What do you have to do to attack these mind patterns that are stopping you from being your ecstatic self? So it's a different type of channeling than somebody that would channel Sananda or someone that would channel someone else. Mm-hmm. My gifts are legitimate, and they work great when someone comes to me. Spirit sets up who comes to me anyway. So when they come to me, they're ready to hear the information that my guides are ready to provide for them. A lot of times I will tap into Mother Nature and I will get a message from Mother Nature herself. It's different, but it's legitimate in its own class. Do you know what I mean? There's different classes of psychics. There's different, abilities that people have. So,
Well, it's my understanding that a psychic does not, when you differentiate from a psychic or a clairvoyant, a psychic simply reads what is already on your subconscious mind. And some people are not aware that we have such beliefs. Depending on how long we have been on this earth and what our experiences were, we have so many beliefs, some of which are unbeknownst to ourselves, to our conscious self. So from an objective consciousness to the subconscious is really what governs a person's life. The conditions in their life are based on the beliefs that are deeply embedded in their subconscious, and you know this. So when you are reading, are the people aware that you are not predicting the future for them? You're predicting the future based on their current mindset, correct?
most of the time. It depends what comes through. Sometimes I'll get something for the future. Sometimes I'll be able to say, okay, right now I'm feeling that there's a being of light behind you.
Is it really behind? No, I'm just joking. Hello back there.
Hello. So, sometimes I'll get your grandmother. It depends what is necessary to help you to open up your consciousness, that is what I'll receive. So it varies. You know, I when I first started, put it this way, I would question, you know, is it real? Is it it's not as future. I thought everything had to be the future. So I started judging it. And I had to take a step back and say, wait a minute, this is what you need. I'm receiving information based on not only your subconscious, but based on what your guides want, or what your grandmother wants to say, or what, you know what I mean? So every single reading is different.
Right, I would imagine.
It's really unique.
No two people share the same
No.
set of beliefs, not 100%.
No.
Their experiences are different, so their beliefs are different. So what happens when you're doing a reading with someone and you get a negative message? How do you communicate that? And do your clients know that, what do they believe about that? If you tell them something negative, are they aware that they have the ability to change that?
I don't like to, I'm not a dark reader. Like, I know there's a reader in Nyack, and bless her soul, she's good at what she does, but she's more of the darker, you know, you got to do this because you're going to be in trouble if you don't, you know. I don't read that way. If I find something negative, I will go around the corner to say it with positiveness. For example, there's a mind pattern I'm feeling you're having, but you know what? It really isn't so bad, because you can shine the light on it when you're positive, or when you use an affirmation. Let me give you this affirmation. So I'm, you know, giving negative, but it's really, I'm giving so much positive that they're able to hear the negative without hiding. You know what, that's the key. You know, if I'm going to bombard you with negativity, you know, if you don't take care of your health, you're going to be in trouble. That's scary. But if I say, you know what, eating well will really give you this energy power and will help you, and your guides want you to feel this great power, aren't you going to feel better about hearing it?
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Absolutely. But for me, coming from the Centers for Spiritual Living, I understand that. I think for a lot of people who do seek readings from psychics and so on, so often, at least it's been my experience, and I'm not a psychic, I have enough to do but keep my own mind and my own beliefs intact, never mind trying to read everybody else's.
But you still channel. You still channel information. I've heard you speak at the Centers for Spiritual Living, and you still have that open channel so that you can speak with that power and you can receive. So you do have that gift, but go ahead.
Right, and I didn't realize that. I know that when I am speaking, and I'm speaking about God in particular, I am deeply moved by the topic, and so I enjoy divine dialogue. So if that's an interpretation of channeling, then so be it. But I think my bigger question is, it's so important for people to understand that the same thoughts that have created their conditions that you are ultimately reading at the time of a reading are the same thoughts that can be changed. Our motto for Centers for Spiritual Living is change your thinking, change your life. So quite often, you know, and I didn't know this years ago, but when I would go to psychic parties and all of our friends would get together, and of course we had our wine and lots of food, and we were all getting readings, and the only thing that we were really concerned about then in our early 20s was, when was Mr. Right coming?
Right.
How much money we were going to make.
I get that all the time.
Right?
Every
Right.
reading is how much money, when am I going to get money? When am I going to meet Mr.
Right, and I knew people who took the words of the psychic word for word, and really changed some of the things that they were doing based on what the psychic told them. And I thought to myself that I saw that was a little twisted. I think the advice given by the psychics is one that's temporary. I don't know how much of it is accurate. I have heard you read for people. You have not read for me. One day I will let you read for me.
For sure.
I've heard wonderful things about your readings, Star. But I know that there are several people out there who do read, and I just don't know how much of it is concrete. But I know when the people leave the psychic, if they're altering their lifestyle to accommodate something the psychic said, then that's very backwards, because the truth is, as I said, what you thought can be unthought.
Well, my readings are based on not giving one's power away. And that's
Right.
spoken a lot at the Center for Spiritual
To
Living.
living, absolutely.
I don't do it with trying to tell them what to do or they should follow me. I say to them many times what vibrates to you and what you feel in your heart.
What resonates with
Right,
them.
what resonates, what you feel, you follow what you need to follow. But I do not, approach anybody from a, I'm better than you.
And what
I need
advice
to
would
show
you give to someone who has been to a psychic that does that?
You gotta take breaths and let it go. And let go giving away your power. Because ultimately, the decision to shift and to change and to have harmony is within you.
That's right.
So I would say to them, just, have an open mind when you go to any psychic. Have an open mind when you go to any psychic, any spiritual counselor, anybody who connects to people who crossed, and just take it for what it is. I remember, I have to share this experience with you. When I was about 14, I was in day camp, and we were in a group, in a class, and it was a very spiritual class, and we went into meditation, and the assignment was to get up and walk around and come back and share your experience. So we all went into a trance, we walked around, we came back, and I said to the teacher, I think I was in a trance, but I'm not sure. I really don't know if I was in a trance. I experienced something, but I don't know if it's real. And he said to me, and I'll never forget it, for years and years, I'll never forget it. He said, it doesn't matter if it's real. It's what you feel from the experience and how you can take it to integrate it into your life in a positive way. Whether it's real or not, whether you made it up, it doesn't...
Well, if you felt it, it's real.
Right, but I didn't know if my trance was real, or whether I was doing it because he told me I have to be in a trance, You have to be in a trance. Well, I was acting like I was in a trance, was I? So.
And your honesty is a breath of fresh air. Your honesty is a breath of fresh air. So
Yeah.
I want to tell you that
Thank you.
myself. I've met many people who read, and so to hear you so humbly speak and so honestly is a breath of fresh air, because not a lot of psychics that I have met are humble enough to do that.
Also, if Spirit is bringing you to a particular psychic, and there are setups in life by your higher self, by your guides, if they're bringing you to somebody, you can get something, I feel you can get something from it without giving your power away. Maybe the psychic will say one little thing, and you'll never go back again because they're that way,
Well, how would you suggest a person seek out a psychic? Quite often it's done because a friend of a friend, or they go, oh, I had this great psychic, she told me I'm going to meet Mr. Right. Of course, Mr. Right didn't come yet. But so we turn on our friends to the same psychic. But what about someone who doesn't have that social circle? How would they go about finding a psychic? A legitimate, humble, honest psychic.
Right. You have to feel it out. You have to ask for references, or you have to kind of feel. If you're not getting it from a recommendation, then you have to look at the person and see how it resonates. Again, resonates, how you feel. If you're sitting in front of someone and their energy is dark and strong, you're not going to want to sit with them and share your intimacy with them.
Right.
You have to be true to your own feelings. You have to love yourself enough to be true and believe that you're there for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Keep that open mind.
Yeah.
Open mind. So one of the questions was regarding the particular being or entity, if you will, that a person will channel. Who is it that you channel, Star?
Well, I have met quite a few people who, when they get their spiritual training, they hook up with one particular being. Like I know there's a cooperative group of beings called One. And a dear friend of mine in Arizona, she channels this one being where, it's pretty intense. She changes voice. She just really receives and receives. So some people channel one specific. I have been blessed, and I'm very grateful to be able to channel and tap into your higher self if I'm doing a reading with you. Or I can channel into a specific being if I call them with the proper vibrational energy. Like if I receive a being called Ra, R-A, from the Palladian star system, and he comes through. I don't always know when, or I could say Ra, 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 and I could, bring on his energy, and then I'll feel an energy in my head and in my body, and the words will just come out, just like, poetry. So
As though you were speaking
right,
for him.
sometimes I'm speaking in a different voice. So I feel I'm blessed because I could do more. I'm doing more than one person, one being.
So do these channel guides, if you will, is that a good term?
Beings,
How do you know where they come from? They tell you
they
where they
tell
come
me.
from?
They tell me.
Okay.
I get sometimes I get visions, and sometimes I get words, and sometimes I get impressions, and then the impressions turn into words.
Okay.
So it varies, but I'm very connected to Mother Nature. So because I just love Mother Nature, I know she's our ally. All the beings of Mother Nature's are our allies. So a lot of times I will connect to her.
So what would you say if I asked you for a channeled message right now? Could you give me a sample of one?
Sure. It is so good to see you and to be here and to recognize you and all the viewers here on this day. Dear ones, you are sublime and divine, and whatever words you wish to impart to recognize yourself in divinity, those are the words you must vibrate. For it is truly an honor to be speaking to you today. As I talk to you, I wish to impart upon you the importance of looking into your heart. When you see all the images and all the delightful possibilities that rest in those caverns of your heart, of your passion, of the love of life that you can tap into, you, my children, will be able to feel energized, feel no longer illnesses, no longer suffer or be in a frame of mind that is damaging to you. Please, I can't tell you enough to stay in your hearts as you move from this day forward. Imagine yourself as a beautiful, beautiful flower. And this flower is being nurtured by the energy of the divine, of the universe, of the sun and all its energies. And you, as a flower, must reach for these energies. You must take in the nutrients from Mother Earth and from Father Sky. When you do this, when you tap in to the abilities of your true nature, that is when you will begin to fly like a bird. You will begin to manifest. You will begin to embrace that very moment of every day. I leave you with the thought of self-empowerment, not for me, not for any other being, but for your own selves, so that you can rise to an occasion where you can celebrate and feel what it is to be co-creators on this planet, on the third dimension. Go in peace, knowing that we in the spirit world celebrate you and bow to you in the grace that you deserve.
Thank you.
And that was Mother Earth.
That was Mother Earth.
I felt the energy of Earth, and I saw the flower. Sometimes I remember what I say, and sometimes I don't. You know, it depends how wrapped up and how spaced out I get.
So, what inspires Star Blossom Goddess? Tell me and tell your viewers what inspires you, Star.
What inspires me? It's a good question. Life inspires me. A lot of times what I find is I have gifts. Photography, and I love photography. I love writing. I love artwork. But what is inspiring is to get into the breath, which is one of the tools that I talk about in my book. Because when I wake up with gratitude and take the breath, that breath inspires me to move in my day, inspires me to take the picture, you know, I love life.
Right.
I love life. I love the hard stuff and I love the easy stuff. Like I said before, I was touched emotionally, and it was earlier in the day, and it was painful, but it was great, because it made me feel lighter afterwards, so I could say, okay, that was my experience. I don't, it is what it is, so.
Right.
Okay, bye. Come again, okay? So, I'd like to take a minute to show the video of the day.
Absolutely.
If I could get my cameraman here.
There he is.
Hi, video of the day. And here's a video on love, because my passion is loving life.
Living life
Living-
ecstatically.
Yeah.
And you are living life ecstatically, aren't you, Star?
I am, I am.
Right. And it's important that you talked about being grateful for the challenges as well as the celebrations.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, "How do you do?" They're really saying, "I love you." I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Trees of green.
Oh, no, it's not. Hi there. Welcome back.
It was a beautiful song.
Isn't that a great
It's
song?
a beautiful song. So, Star, my very last question. This is my second time on your show. And I'm glad that I got to ask these questions because it gives me more insight about what Star is all about. But what is the Star Blossom Goddess show? What is the reason for this show?
That's a great question.
I have great questions,
You
don't I?
do. I'm very impressed. You're the best.
For $50, I'll ask you anything you want.
I'll tell you, my show, first of all, has evolved since you came. You know, I started very structured. You know, I got to write down everything. I got to say everything. And the more I relaxed, the more I realized that I have a lot to share. And I really want to share with everybody the importance of loving themselves, of moving in their paths, of opening up their consciousness. And I try to do it in different ways, like with affirmations that, like I have up here, or a poem or a story that I read, or a quote. And my purpose is to really empower people to say, wait a second, if Star loves life and can connect to Source, why can't I? You know, what do I have to do? You know, and just get the ball rolling in people's minds
Right.
so that they can really,
Do you have a website, Star?
I'm working on it. I don't at this point.
So if your viewers wanted to reach out to you, how would they do so? Do you have an email address?
I
or-
do.
Okay.
It's starblossom@optonline.net.
Okay, starblossom@optonline.net.
Correct.
So, for
Oh, and Facebook, of course, Star Blossom. You could befriend me. Please befriend me. I, would love to hear from you. And I hope within the next few weeks to have a website.
right, and this way you can create some dialogue with your viewers because
Right,
I'm sure that they
right.
have questions. I tried to think of the questions that viewers might ask,
Right.
but it would be beneficial, I think.
And there's also on Rockland World Radio has a
An archive page.
Yep. So there are ways to get a hold of me, and I invite you all to come and seek me out so I can, give you the guidance, whatever guidance you might need,
Right, or just to hear their feedback.
Yeah,
Right, it'd be
anything,
wonderful to hear their
anything.
feedback.
I'm really.
I think going forward, you actually mentioned that you'd like to create the opportunity where viewers can actually call in while you're on the show,
Yes.
which I think would be a great asset to the Star Blossom Goddess show, to really create a space where viewers, as they're watching your show, have a question, they can call in and ask and share it with the world.
Right, because I also am a life coach, and I give lectures on living life ecstatically. I have 3 lectures I do. living ecstatically, just tapping into your inner child. And I do meditations and we do workshops within that so that you could tap into your inner child. And I also do guided meditations where we go for walks in nature and we connect to Mother Nature, and we really
That sounds wonderful.
it's wonderful. But I'm also interested to know about what you do. So I would like some feedback on the type of treatment you do, because I myself, I do I'm a life coach, and I feel I have heard much about the type of treatment you do. So could you go into that?
Well, I think it's important. Treatment, when Star talks about treatment, I am an intern practitioner with the Centers for Spiritual Living in Morristown, New Jersey. Star introduced me as an interfaith minister. That was an error.
Sorry.
I am not an interfaith minister. I am an intern practitioner with Centers for Spiritual Living in Morristown. And in Science of Mind philosophy, a practitioner is a religious scientist. And based on a treatment, Science of Mind treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer, it's our form of prayer. There are typically 5 to 7 steps in treatment. The first is recognizing God as the only source and creator, and unifying ourselves with God and all of God's attributes. And 3, proclaiming what it is we're seeking to experience, be that a healing in our physical health or our financial well-being. And so when you seek a practitioner or a practitioner intern, because they can treat, of course it's pro bono until they get their license, and then that's actually a paid-for relationship. But a good treatment would start out, number one, by recognizing that God is all there is in this universe, that there is one creator, and regardless of what religious flag you may embrace, we are all connected by one God. And knowing that I am a child of God means that I share in the likeness and image of God, just as many of the traditional and biblical scriptures have repeated over and over again, that we are children of God. Know ye not, ye are gods. It's said through many of the religious doctrines. And so in Science of Mind, we not only speak it, but we know it on many levels, and we know it to the point of demonstrating. So, for example, Star asked me what treatment was, and so I've explained to you the first 3 steps: recognition of one God, unification with that one God, declaration of that which you wish to experience. 4 being gratitude, thanking God for this already answered prayer. And again, biblically, ask and you shall receive, and ask and believe. And so believe is not, oh, please God, can you help me out with my rent payment? It's thank you for providing the means, however it is they come. But thank you for my financial healing. Thank you for my abundance and my prosperity. And with deep, deep gratitude, I release the words that I speak forth to a universal law that is impersonal and infallible and works with and through me. And together we say, and so it is. So there you are. That's a sample of a treatment.
All right,
it's very generic.
So if if I came to you and I said, right now I'm having upper back problems, what type of, can you give my viewers a sample? Okay, can you give me a quick sample, because I'm getting the fingers of time.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll save that for our next show, and we'll
That
go
sounds
more
great.
in depth with Science of Mind treatment and how you can go about reaching a practitioner in your area, and how you can learn more about the Science of Mind philosophy. Our founder, Ernest Holmes. So if you want to look that up, you can Google. Google is a wonderful tool today. You
It
can find out
is.
anything you want. So if you would like to engage in that curiosity, Google religious science, Ernest Holmes, and Science of Mind. And I think that you will be deeply moved by some of the information that you read today on Science of Mind philosophy and how it's changing, it's transforming lives.
Well, I can vouch for it, because I will tell you, viewers, that I have gone to spiritual Ernest Holmes Church in Rockland, and I have heard the treatments, and I have seen it work, and again, it's very uplifting, it's very positive, it's very powerful. So I'm really looking forward to a
Right.
future show where you
And
can.
I'll be at the Center for Spiritual Living in Nyack this coming Sunday. I will
Oh,
be
awesome.
giving the Sunday celebration talk. Centers for Spiritual Living in Nyack, 521 North Broadway. Service starts at 10:15.
I hope
We'd love
you
to
all-
see you all there.
Yes, I'd love to have you come. Because truthfully, who's better than you? Nobody. Stay great, everybody. Thanks for listening. You truly all are a gift. You are all a gift. So celebrate your own self.
Peace and blessings.
Bye.
It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.